When I earned my degree, my parents posted, "We're so proud of both our kids. One graduated, the other one has real potential." My brother hadn't even finished high school, so I left the group chat and did this. A year later, they showed up outside my apartment in the rain. I should have known better. I did know better. But for one stupid, perfect second, I let myself believe maybe I wasn't invisible anymore. Let me rewind. Graduation day. Big moment. After 4 years of balancing classes, commuting 2 hours a day, working nights at a grocery store so we wouldn't lose the house, finally, I was walking across that stage in a wrinkled gown, holding a piece of paper that apparently made me successful. It wasn't Ivy League. No one clapped extra loud, but I did it. I earned my degree in computer science. No loans, no safety net, just me, my backpack, and the sheer force of spite. My parents didn't come, by the way. They said they couldn't get the time off, which was weird because I'm pretty sure my dad hasn't had a structured job since 2018, and my mom is a freelance photographer who posts hashtag cappuccino and sunlight pics at 2 p.m. on Tuesdays. But whatever, I told myself I wasn't mad because that morning I'd heard something that gave me a sliver of hope. I was in the kitchen reheating my coffee when I heard my mom say to my dad, "We should probably post something later for Callie. It's a big day." And my dad, who usually reserves praise for his favorite baseball team and Tyler's most recent unfinished hobby, nodded and said, "Yeah, it's the least we can do." I didn't react, didn't smile. Just stared at the microwave, trying not to breathe too loud, like if I made a sound I'd break the spell. A post. They were going to make a post. Let me explain why that mattered. They post for everything. Tyler gets a new skateboard. There's a 10-slide Instagram story. Tyler colors half a picture. Facebook reel. Tyler says he might be interested in real estate. Full tweet thread with hashtag manifesting my son's greatness. Me? Radio silence. For years, I once made the dean's list and they told me to be careful not to seem full of myself. So yeah, a post. That was huge. And for the next few hours, I let myself feel it. That maybe this time they saw me. That maybe I wasn't just the one who covered the mortgage when the water heater broke, or the walking ATM who quietly bought Tyler's textbooks even though he never opened them. Maybe I was their daughter. So I kept checking my phone. After the ceremony, on the train home at 11 p.m., curled up in bed with my cap on the floor. And finally, there it was, a photo captioned, "We're so proud of both our kids. One graduated, the other one has real potential." And I just stared at it. Let's break that down. One graduated, cool, accurate, vague. No name, no tag, just a blurry wide shot of someone who might be me walking across the stage. If you squinted like I was a stock image they Googled. But then the second part, the other one has real potential. And there he was, Tyler, smiling, shirtless, holding a surfboard. A surfboard, because apparently nothing says bright future like failing 3 math classes and still getting a "we're so proud" tag for breathing in the general direction of ambition. And just like that, the warmth I'd been holding all day turned sour in my chest. It wasn't just the caption, it was everything underneath it. The fact that this was how they chose to celebrate me, by equating a degree I'd worked 4 years for, through exhaustion, isolation, and borderline malnutrition, with Tyler's unconfirmed interest in trying community college once he feels ready. They didn't even say my name. They tagged him, not me. Suddenly, I was 16 again, watching Tyler get a brand new bike for getting a C in biology, while I was told grades aren't everything after acing calculus. I was 19, working 2 jobs and taking night classes while Tyler dropped out and went on a mental health road trip that was mostly him crashing on couches and posting vape tricks on TikTok. And I was 22, standing in our kitchen thinking, maybe they'll finally say something nice about me. Like an idiot. I didn't comment, didn't like it. I just closed the app, opened the family group chat, and tapped Leave Conversation. Then I sat there in the dark with my phone in my hand and the taste of shame in my mouth. Because that's what it was. Shame. Not anger, not even disappointment. That deep, aching feeling that no matter how hard you try, you'll always be the background noise to someone else's spotlight. You can earn a degree, support your whole family, sacrifice every ounce of your youth, and still be the afterthought in your own story. They didn't notice I left the chat. Of course they didn't. But I noticed, and for the first time, I decided that was enough. I was done waiting for a post, a plaque, or a thank you text that was never coming. They could keep their surfboard prodigy. I had my degree and a whole lot of silence to fill. You'd think I'd be used to it by now, the silence, the shrinking, the applause that always seemed to land a little louder when it was for someone else. What messes you up is how normal it starts to feel. When your brother forgets your birthday and your parents say, he's going through a lot right now, you stop expecting a gift and start measuring love in how calm you can stay when they laugh at you for caring. That was the rhythm I grew up in. I don't have some dramatic, locked under the stairs story. My parents technically fed me, clothed me, even attended a few PTA meetings when the guilt kicked in. But if you've ever been the kid praised only for being low maintenance, you know exactly what I mean when I say it wasn't neglect. It was polite erasure. And then there was Tyler, my younger brother by 2 years, but somehow always the one who needed more understanding, more patience, more air in the room. Tyler was a storm in a human body, loud, emotional, charming in the way that made teachers forgive late homework and girls give him second chances after the 4th lie. He could fail a test and convince you it was a political statement. When I got a B+, my mom would squint and say, "Next time, aim higher." When Tyler got a C-, it was, "He's doing his best." He's got so much on his mind. Apparently, a lot on your mind included buying sneakers with my debit card in 8th grade and claiming he thought it was family money. He didn't pay me back. When I got accepted into college, I didn't get a cake. I got a grocery list and a quiet reminder that since I'd be living at home to save money, I could chip in a little more around the house. By chip in, they meant work as many shifts as humanly possible and cover the gap when the mortgage was short, while also commuting 2 hours a day and studying for finals with my eyes half open and my hands still smelling like deli meat. Meanwhile, Tyler was on his self-discovery year, which in our house meant dropping out of high school, posting philosophical captions under shirtless mirror selfies, and starting projects he never finished. The dog walking business, the YouTube channel, the fitness coaching, the drop shipping scheme. Each one got a bigger round of applause than my actual scholarship. Mom's favorite line, "He just needs to find his passion," right? Apparently, I found mine early, working and not complaining. To be clear, I wasn't asking for a parade, but I hoped that after 4 years of sacrificing every ounce of time and energy to keep this family afloat, they'd, I don't know, remember my name in a Facebook post. Instead, I got real potential. That phrase is a backhand to the soul. It says everything while saying nothing. He hasn't done anything, but don't worry. He might. And if he ever does, they'll be front row, clapping like it was their idea. Meanwhile, I was the one paying for Tyler's textbooks. Yes, even after he dropped out. They didn't go to waste. He used one to balance a wobbly desk leg. I didn't stop helping. I don't even know why. Maybe I thought if I kept being useful, they'd start seeing me as valuable. I covered Wi-Fi, groceries, insurance, slipped $200 into my mom's purse once because she cried when the electricity bill came and said, "We just need a little breathing room this month." Funny how she never seemed short of breath when Tyler wanted concert tickets. There were moments, though, little cracks in the armor where I let myself believe I mattered. Like when Dad got sick and I took over everything, appointments, meds, bills. He looked at me once, just once, and said, "I don't know what we'd do without you." I held on to that sentence like gospel, but when he got better, Tyler crashed his car, and I was back to being the reliable one who could help out for a bit. The worst part isn't the work. I don't mind working. It's that no matter how much I gave, it was never a headline. Tyler gets a haircut and Mom's on Instagram like he's starring in a shampoo commercial. I work 60 hours in a week, and the most I get is a lukewarm, "Don't push yourself too hard," which I used to think was concern. Now I think it was code for, "Don't burn out. We still need you." So when I saw that graduation post, I wasn't shocked by the caption. I was shocked that I let myself hope. That's the part that hurts. Not what they did, but that I believed, even for a second, this time would be different. That maybe the kid who stayed, who paid, who held everything together in silence would finally be allowed to exist in the spotlight. Instead, I got cropped out of my own celebration. I didn't make an announcement. No dramatic exit. I just stopped. Stopped covering the phone bill. Stopped Venmoing my mother a little extra when she said groceries were tight. Stopped forwarding job listings to my dad. Stopped reminding Tyler, sorry, Mr. Real Potential, to turn in his community college application, which, by the way, he never started. I didn't storm out. I didn't slam doors. I began the quiet surgical process of extracting myself from their lives, starting with the money. You'd be amazed how many things I was quietly funding. I'd set up auto pay for utilities during sophomore year and never turned them off. I bought new tires for Dad's car last winter and didn't even tell him. They just appeared like magic. I was still paying for the Wi-Fi, for God's sake, so I logged into every account, every app, every recurring payment I'd set up in a moment of guilt or obligation, and I hit cancel, one by one. Click, done. Click, gone. It felt like peeling off layers of a costume I didn't know I was wearing. At first, nothing happened. No, "Hey, did something change?" Just the usual radio silence. Tyler still posted thirst traps. Mom still tagged him in motivational quotes like, "The best is yet to come." Then the bills started bouncing. Subtle signs, a late fee notice on the kitchen counter, Dad asking if the bank's been acting weird, Tyler cursing at the router because the Wi-Fi cut out mid-TikTok. Still, no one looked at me. Even when I quit my part-time job to start a full-time grad role, they barely blinked. I packed up, moved into a tiny one-bedroom across town, and not one person asked if I needed help. To be clear, I didn't. What I needed was for someone, anyone, to ask. Instead, I got a single text from Mom the day I moved. "Don't forget your leftover pasta in the fridge." Touching. Then the cracks spread. A week later, Dad left a voicemail. "Hey kiddo, the gas bill came in higher than usual this month. Let me know if you've got a few bucks to spot us." No pressure. I didn't respond. Tyler texted the next day. "Dude, can you send me like $40 for gas? I'm broke, and Mom said you used to cover that stuff anyway." Used to. That almost made me laugh. He didn't say please. Didn't say thank you. Just used to, like I was a discontinued service they forgot to replace. Then a group message from Mom. "I know things have been tense lately, but you're still part of this family." Tyler needs help registering for classes, and we're just not in a place to cover the deposit right now. Anything you can do would mean a lot, heart emoji. That was when I realized they didn't miss me. They missed my labor. They missed my money, my reminders, my presence as a tool, not a person. So I started talking, not to them, to people who actually saw me, friends from work, a manager who congratulated me on landing the grad job and asked what I wanted to learn next, not how fast I could fix someone else's mess. I went to the gym, not to look good, but to feel like I had a body again, not just a pair of hands holding up someone else's roof. I bought a bookshelf, my own bookshelf, built it alone, filled it with books no one borrowed or spilled drinks on or called boring. And every time a bill didn't hit my inbox, every time I sat in silence without someone yelling from the next room for just one more thing, I breathed a little easier. Of course, they didn't let go quietly. One night, 2 weeks after I moved, Mom called again. I didn't answer. She texted, "Please don't shut us out." This isn't like you. She was right. It wasn't like me. It was like someone who'd finally stopped ignoring how little she was valued. I replied, "I'm not shutting you out. I'm just done giving things you don't appreciate." No reply. The next day, Tyler, "You're being dramatic. Just because they posted something dumb doesn't mean you get to act like a victim." Interesting word, victim, coming from someone who once sobbed on the kitchen floor because his gaming headset broke and insisted we were emotionally abusing him by asking him to clean his room. It escalated faster than I expected. Dad texted the following week, "You made your point. You're angry, but this family isn't something you get to opt out of just because you feel overlooked." That's when I realized none of them understood. This wasn't about anger. This wasn't a tantrum. This was clarity. I wasn't punishing them. I was removing myself from a cycle that had drained me for years. And they were finally feeling it, not through yelling, not through slammed doors, through silence. And silence, I was learning, speaks louder than all the years I begged to be seen. It started with a knock, not a text, not a call. A literal knock on my apartment door at 7:42 p.m. on a Wednesday. It was raining. Of course it was. Through the peephole, I saw all three of them, Dad, Mom, and Tyler, damp jackets, no umbrella, faces pinched like they'd stepped out of a soap opera. I opened the door halfway. "Callie," Mom said, voice already shaking. "We need to talk." "You could have called," I said flatly. "We tried," Dad jumped in. "But you've made it clear you're not answering." "Correct," I said, "because I'm not interested in round 6 of emotional Monopoly where I keep paying and Tyler always passes go." Tyler rolled his eyes. "Oh my God, you're still doing this?" My jaw tensed, but I didn't react. "What exactly do you want?" "We want to fix this," Mom said, stepping forward. "This family is falling apart. We're behind on bills. Tyler might lose his spot at school that he never actually applied to." I cut in. She flinched. Dad tried again. "You're right, okay?" "You made your point. We've been struggling without your help, but you don't just get to abandon your family." There it was. Not a single apology, just an accusation wrapped in faux vulnerability. I looked at Tyler. "You said I was being dramatic." "Still feel that way?" He shrugged. "I mean, yeah. You ghosted us over a caption I actually laughed." "A caption?" "You graduated," he said, stepping forward. "Congrats, seriously, but it's not like you cured cancer." "Neither did you," I snapped. "But somehow you got the parade." Silence. Thunder cracked behind them. Great timing. Mom tried again, softer. You've always been the strong one, Callie. I thought you didn't need that kind of recognition. Let me translate, I said. You thought I'd tolerate being ignored as long as you kept needing me. No, that's not. Then what is it? I stepped fully into the doorway. What do you want me to say? That I forgive you. That I'll come back and keep paying for your mistakes while Tyler plays startup founder in his pajamas. He's trying, she whispered. He's 20, I said. He's trying Instagram Live. And your patience. That's not the same thing. Tyler muttered something. What was that? I asked. I said maybe we should have never asked you for anything, he snapped. At least then you wouldn't act like we owe you the moon. You don't owe me the moon, I said. You owe me acknowledgement. The decency of saying, hey, maybe the person who held this house together for years deserves more than a footnote. Dad's face hardened. You're acting like we abused you. You lived under our roof. Yeah, I said, and I paid for the privilege. He opened his mouth, but I held up a hand. You know the worst part? It's not the money. It's that you only noticed I was gone when the Wi-Fi stopped working and the fridge got emptier. Not because you missed me, because you missed the convenience. No one spoke. Rain spilled behind them, steady and cold. Then Mom played the final card. Callie, we love you. I looked her in the eyes. No, Mom. You loved what I could do for you. And now that I've stopped, you don't know who I am. She cried. Tyler shook his head and walked off, muttering that I was selfish. Dad looked at me like I'd betrayed the bloodline. I didn't slam the door. I let them stand there a beat longer. Let the silence settle. Then I said, this was never about one post. It was about every moment you told me I didn't need appreciation because I wasn't fragile like him. I wasn't strong. I was just quiet. And now I'm done. And I shut the door. No slam, no drama, just done. In the weeks that followed, things got desperate. Tyler messaged mutual friends to talk some sense into me. Said I was going through something and needed to get over my ego. Mom sent an email with the subject line, "Can we start over?" Full of passive-aggressive love and a PayPal link for just one more tuition payment. Archived. Dad left a voicemail. You think you're better than us now? Good for you. Let's see how far that gets you. Turns out, pretty far. 2 months later, I was promoted. I moved into a better place. I got a dog, named her Nova, because if my family taught me anything, it's that for every action there's an equal and opposite reaction, and sometimes the brightest things are born from collapse. I started therapy, not because I was broken, but because for the first time I could afford to put myself first. One night, after the rain finally stopped and the air outside my apartment was still, I stood on my balcony with Nova curled at my feet, and I let myself breathe. Not for anyone else. Not to prove anything. Just for me. And it was enough. Sometimes I still catch myself wondering if I went too far, if maybe I should have answered one of those calls, explained it better, been more gracious about setting boundaries, whatever that means. But then I remember all the years I said nothing. All the birthdays skipped, the sacrifices dismissed. The way they clapped louder for potential than they ever did for proof. And I know this wasn't cruelty, it was clarity. Walking away doesn't always mean anger. Sometimes it just means you're done being the backup plan for people who never planned to value you. So what do you think? Was I too harsh? Should I have given them one more chance? Or was it finally time someone called them out? Not with words, but with silence. Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your take.